Let's do a quick introduction. Fausto, if you would like to start, then the people know who you are and where you're coming from.
Yes, so my name is Fausto. Thank you for the short intro talk. I'm here in the capacity of community lead of the AIBuilders Club, which is a thriving, fast-growing community that holds monthly meetups for, I can talk around it, but for nerds. But I'd say the traditional nerds and also the language nerds. And we come together every month opposite of Central Station here in Amsterdam, but also in Berlin, in Rotterdam, and we're branching out to Paris and London. I have a background in behavioral science and a life career full of entrepreneurship, SMBs. So in this all kind of came together with my technical endeavors, and now I'm here.
Thanks, Fausto. Andre?
Nice. So I'm Andre Lino. I'm here as the head of engineering of Textkernel. And maybe you have never heard about Textkernel, but there's a high chance that we have handled your CV in the past. We have been building AI models for the last 25 years. Machine learning, deep learning. We're not building LLMs, at least not yet, although we are using them. And then what we do, we offer services based on these models to the HR tech industry. For instance, in order to take a resume, so unstructured data, and turn it into structured data, right? So then we clearly know name, profession, and all of those things. We do the same for jobs, so we can take a job posting from the web. We can do exactly the same thing. We can send everything to a database.
How important is data for the AI part? For Andre, you can start.
Well, without data, we could not have done anything, right? We could not have trained any of our models. Bad data, bad models. You can get bad models with good data, but you cannot get good models with bad data. At least we have not managed to do that. And then what I also see is, of course, with LLMs, most of the public information has been scraped, analyzed, processed, all of that. So I think now it's all about having good set of private data, and that might be a competitive advantage. I also realize that we're not all going to be creating LLMs. But I actually think small language models are actually the future, right? More specialized. And what I see is that we're going to start with some standard model, and then there's going to be a small layer of fine-tuning based on private data sets, and that's going to be the competitive advantage and the differentiator between a lot of companies.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be the next thing. Not for everybody, but especially the expertise you guys already have for many years on AI. Yeah. That would be a good step.
You need to make orders for the Saturday. Friday and Saturday are your busiest nights. 80% of the week's take is in those 2 days. So you better make a good order, and because then the Sunday comes and Monday you may be closed, so etc. You can see how like an experienced manager manages to put in an order that is sort of good based on maybe the predicted sales, bookings, the current stock. These are all metrics that you can, as a data person, you can say like, all right, that's quantifiable, right? Like we can make like probability distributions of this kind of stuff. Yeah, we can, but they cannot afford that, and they don't have the capacity to do so. But now imagine a large language model using structured extraction, making sense of messy data, because I think that's one of the most fascinating things that large language models can do, and AI in general, making sense of messy data. So And I know this is not as scalable as your application, but we've been playing a lot with like libraries like Instructor, and now like you have OpenAI structured outputs. It all kind of boils down to having a model, a schema that you define with some knowledge, like domain knowledge, and then having a large language model go at like a bunch of data and then extracts the right data that fits in that schema. Now, that in itself, without anthropomorphizing AI, is something interesting because we kind of perceive knowledge. We kind of perceive reality through that same idea. Like, knowledge is not embedded in a vacuum. We need prior knowledge to update our schemas and attribute weights and Bayesian inference and all that stuff. But I think it's a lot of fun as a developer to use your domain knowledge or your team members' domain knowledge to create these schemas, to test, to iterate, and to distill this messy information that is around us into useful information. And in case of that restaurant on the Friday night, you can imagine, I'm going quickly here because otherwise it's going to take too long, but let's say you make orders and you do this with a wholesaler website, right? A wholesaler is, say, I'm not going to shout names here, but a wholesaler website has like 200,000 products, everything is there, it's a one-stop shop because you have limited time and you need to order. In a like free market, you would actually have access to everything that is available in town, right? To like, there's hundreds of websites, bakers, butchers, veggie stores, etc. And you would be able to scrape that and well, you can kind of feel it coming, that is potentially possible with generative AI to chew all that data into useful data. Instead of having, to bounce at the limitations of the human brain and just being forced to use like a one-stop shop, which I can guarantee you is not cheaper, not better, and is not taking better care of their staff. So essentially, I see a nearby future where small, medium businesses can have better choice agency by being able to use like user-friendly applications that they don't have to develop to make data accessible.
Of course, our product teams, marketing teams, salespeople, everyone has a lot of ideas, and we cannot explore all of them. But we have at least one POC that we actually have delivered to customers, and it's about generating job postings, right? So imagine you're a recruiter, you need to create an online advertisement for, I don't know, Java developer or nurse or whatever. And this can guide you, right? Hey, those are skills that typically are required for that profession, things like that.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
Yeah, so that we are doing.
Right. So where would be the benefit of those organizations from a generative AI? And that's a question for you, Fausto, because I think you're connected the most with those.
Yeah, I mean, let's take this example here. We have the wholesaler. Yeah. Right there, so there's makers, there's industry, distilleries, veggie, maybe farmers, but there's like this whole layer, right? And this is sort of like a hourglass-shaped market with all the restaurants and small and medium businesses around town, which I want to be there. Like, I don't want to live in a town with like just change, like let it be diverse, right? But like in the middle, the information about the goods and the market and the actual physical goods are stored in wholesale distribution hubs. Those are only a few companies. Imagine that those companies and those restaurants and SMBs are connected directly, essentially passing by. What that would mean for a town where
taking the intermediate person
out of the equation. and optimizing for routes, and then you actually, and here comes like the behavioral science perspective or like the social science perspective, is like, if you like imagine, like just come with me, there is a system that can do that kind of stuff, then we also have to make decisions like, where do we optimize for? Because if we only optimize for profit, whose profit do we optimize for, right? That side. And if we want to optimize for more than profit, then what? Then we want to optimize for carbon footprint, for maybe how they treat their staff. And isn't that inherently paternalistic? And is that wrong? And how on earth are we going to update democracy to handle that?
Don't ask me that question. Maybe somebody in the audience could answer that one. Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair and complex a question that you put on the table there, right? So, of course, taking out the intermediate, what are you going to optimize for?
That is the key point. Yeah.
And how much harder would it be for the smaller businesses to deal with maybe 20 people providing the services? Is that easier, or is that harder for them. Andre, in your field of expertise, and I know that you guys have been working with AI for quite a long time. Where do you see the most impact from AI in 2 or 3 years from now?
Yeah. So in terms of where it's going to go, I think it's I don't know. LLMs are of course now making AI available to everyone, but they still have limitations, right? Like you guys also mentioned before. And what I think is we're going to see more agents that are going to be interacting with each other. Each agent being specialized on a certain thing, could be playing chess, but could also be, I don't know, identifying a cyber threat. And that guy only identifies it. Maybe someone else will actually then be the interface and understand what are the implications. So I see that's how I see it evolving. And what I see then is impact in society. Well, some functions in the job market are going to become less demand. Some others are actually going to be more in demand, right? Maybe we'll need more people that work in this field. And others are just going to collaborate better. I don't know, maybe in the medical industry, like doing diagnosis and things like that. So that's how I think things will evolve in the next actually 2-3 years already.
Yeah, and if you cannot answer this question because it's maybe too strategic or tactical from a Textkernel perspective, how easy would it be for you to be an interrupter in something that's not your core business now?
Yeah,
but could be.
Yeah, I think the barriers for new players are a lot smaller nowadays. It's of course a lot around the culture of the company, the data that you already have. But I think that's actually what it is, right? But the entry barrier is smaller. Also, like parsing the CV, like we have been doing for all these years. You can just do it now with an LLM. It's quite expensive, but you can still do it. But yeah, so I think it's all about having the right data, and if you already have a company, it's all about the culture and the service and all of that.
So is AI or generative AI an opportunity or a threat? Fausto?
It's I can only answer that it's both, right? It's a threat to existing systems, and so therefore it's also an opportunity for new ones. And I think the biggest challenge lays in it's going so fast, and we don't know what we don't know yet, right? Like we have an inherent knowledge gap in what is actually possible with these LLMs and generative AI capabilities. I think that really materializes in people talking about like the super intelligence or AGI or like how intelligent a model should be. Like what Andre was saying earlier, the biggest revolution may be coming from these specialized smaller models that interact in God knows like evolutionary algorithm ways, like to optimize together, etc. So those are things that that are not in media, of course, because they're not so accessible. But I'm sure we're gonna be it's gonna be full of surprises, and it's probably not coming from that one big super intelligence, because that is just the romantic way of thinking about things.
Thanks, Fausto. Andre? Opportunity or threat?
Both, right?
Yeah.
But I think in the end it all depends. So especially for existing companies, it all depends on how flexible or how agile the company is. If you're able to adjust and react, then I think it's definitely an opportunity. If the companies are somewhat more rigid, slow to move, well, then I think it's a threat. Because I think this is quite disruptive, right? In terms of products that are going to be launched in the market, competitive products, right? But also competitors that can become a lot more efficient, right? Reduce their costs, provide better customer support and all of that. So either you ride away for...
It's basically going back to nature. It's not the strongest, not the fastest, but it's the one that adapts
Correct.
the fastest. That's going to
Always.
be the winner.
The one that can use the tools now.
Yeah, reason and act.
I'm going to open the floor for questions from the audience. If there's any questions, all of a sudden they become shy. Yeah?
Everyone wants to have the drink.
There's one more presentation in between it. So no questions?
That's all right.
That's fine. That's fine. We can take no questions. That's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julian.
Thanks, Andre.